Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abbie Richie. I'm the founder of Senior Savvy, and you can find me here every Tuesday talking about tech innovations as it's impacting older adults. It's a really exciting place to be because there's so many products that are being developed and designed to help older adults age in place longer and make their own choices. Before we get started today, I want to thank our sponsors, ProCare HR. Now, let's face it, HR tasks, they could be a pain in the neck. I know firsthand. That's why ProCare HR is committed to helping you work out those kinks so that you can focus on what really matters, delivering care. Ensuring that you can provide the highest level of care is their top priority. And ProCare HR has proven results in helping care organizations because they only serve the care industry. ProCare HR addresses the common burdens like workforce shortages, wage gaps, expensive sign-on bonuses, legislative changes, workers' comp claims, and more. I'm glad they're handling that. Reach out to them at procarehr.com. And now let's go ahead and run our intro. Welcome back to the show. If you were with me last week, I want to apologize for all of the technical issues we had and thank our producer Jada for filling in for me when my Wi-Fi went out. Well, hopefully nothing like that will happen today because we have a stellar panel lined up to talk about accessibility tech, which is a huge growing industry. So what I want to do is I want to bring my guests on and have them all introduce themselves. First and foremost, I want to introduce Stephen Ewell, who is the Executive Director at the Consumer Technology Association Foundation. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, Steve.
Thanks, Abbie. It's great to be here, and we're thrilled to have this conversation today. And like you said, the CTA Foundation is the charitable foundation affiliated with trade association and focused on helping older adults and people with disabilities.
Wonderful. I can't wait to hear from you. And I also want to introduce Jimmy Zolo from Joe and Bella. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, Jimmy.
Hey, Abbie, thank you for having me. I'm the founder of Joe and Bella. What we do is we make adaptive and accessible clothing specifically designed for older adults changing bodies and needs. That means using things like magnets and zippers and Velcro to make that process of dressing faster, safer, easier, more dignified, while still allowing folks to wear clothes that they would always love to wear. So happy to be here and excited for the conversation.
Wonderful. And Jeff Jones of Camino Mobility, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Abbie. Great to be here. Camino Mobility has developed a smart walker that helps older adults to walk well and walk more, which in turn helps to reduce fall risk and also provides a connectivity platform to help retirement communities to manage the community of older adults who are using walkers and detect early onset of conditions, etc.
Love it. And then we also have Deval of Lotus Labs. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, Deval.
Thanks, Abbie. Nice to meet you, everyone. My name is Deval Patel. I previously managed a division at Apple for iPhone, Watch, and AirPods. Now founded Lotus, where for people with limited mobility, we've created this wearable ring that controls objects at home by pointing. But unlike, say, Alexa, there's no apps, no rewiring, or internet.
I love it. Now, you guys, you all just blow me away. You know, when I hear about your solution, I know immediately how it can help people. But before we launch into that, I want to talk about an overview of accessibility tech. And Stephen, if you would please share with us, how has accessibility tech evolved in the past couple of years?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's exciting to see the examples that we have on today of some really incredible accessible and assistive technology. Assistive technology, if you go back traditionally the definition of that tends to be, devices along the lines of, things like braille readers, hearing aids, other devices that are really designed for specific elements of the disability community. But one of the really exciting pieces that we've seen over the last decade is the expansion of accessible technology across the consumer technology marketplace. So we're seeing devices that, similar to some of the devices we'll see today, that are in our homes, whether we are looking for your traditional assistive products, but also many of our phones, our tablets, our smart home products, other solutions along those lines are having these incredible capabilities built into them. And it's making more and more of our homes developed around our needs as we age, as we experience different types of disabilities. So we're really excited to see the continued growth. And that's something that we see from, one side of the industry to the next, as a continuing growing market in the assistive technology and consumer technology space.
I love it. I love it. I want to talk now about your individual solutions and how they're helping people on a day-to-day basis. So, Jimmy, if you would please, tell us, how did you come about developing Joe and Bella, and what are certain solutions that you're able to provide today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did not come into this thinking I was going to be a clothing brand. During the pandemic, I was running a generational research firm doing a lot of work specifically with AARP on the future of aging and longevity and care in this country. But at the same time, I was helping to care for my grandmother. She was a wheelchair user. She was living with some significant cognitive change. And when the pandemic hit, she was in a memory care community. And we were locked out like everybody was. And that allowed me, in a weird way, to see a different lens into her life. Because normally when we would go and visit, she would be ready to go. She would be dressed. Her hair would be done. Her makeup would be on. During the pandemic, though, you FaceTime and you get what you get. And in one of these instances, I saw what it was like for her to get dressed. And she was crying from the level of pain from just having to reach her arm back a little bit into her sleeve was excruciating. Later found out she was refusing to drink water because the idea of having to go to the bathroom was so scary and intimidating. So we sought out to make products that just decrease that level of pain, that make dressing easier, and still doing so in a way that the clothes are beautiful. So as an example, I'm wearing a new prototype. We currently do have magnetic men's button downs. This is a different version of it, but all these buttons you see here are fake. Sewn behind them are magnets, however. So someone with Parkinson's or arthritis can easily put this on with one hand, or even if you just had rotator cuff surgery, it makes that process easier. We've also done things like we drop our shoulder and enlarge our armhole. So the process of reaching back into a sleeve is far easier. Our cuffs have dual elastic on both sides with fake buttons again here. So every single product that we make has really interesting and intricate details that are designed for an older adult's body to make that process of dressing faster, safer, and less painful.
I love it. I love it. And I know that, Jeff, Camino came about in a similar way, that the founder who designed and developed Camino saw how his father would that his father's walker was totally inconvenient for him to use. Is that correct?
Yes. Duncan, the founder, saw his father fighting Parkinson's for over 25 years. And he was just increasingly frustrated by the quality of durable medical equipment. So he set out to design a better walker, but along the way introduced a whole set of modern technologies that really were available and commonly used, but by integrating them into a package targeting and serving older adults can really help them walk better, improving the quality of their gait, and walk more in terms of walking farther, walking faster, all of which are highly correlated with better health outcomes for people. And again, the device, as well as being a very useful tool for the older adult, it is then connecting back to their adult children or to, in the context of a retirement community, can be tracked within the retirement community, so they could get notifications if somebody is moving unusually in the nighttime or not moving as usual in the morning, or just that the quality of their walk has suddenly deteriorated, which is could be an indicator of many things,
including dementia. And if you could please, I know you have a graphic that you can share with us. Could you share that with us so that our viewers get a better sense of the scope?
Sure. So this, as well as being a powered walker, the Camino has 2 rear-facing cameras that are looking back at the older.
What do you mean by that, power walker?
So we know that people struggle to push 20 pounds of metal up and down hills. So we've introduced a gentle power boost that detects how fast a person is walking, whether they're going on the flat, whether they're going uphill or downhill. When they're going up, it provides a little bit more boost, and when they're going down, it provides a little bit of braking, so the walker does not run away from them. But importantly, and in terms of accessibility, we've come across a few other devices out there where people have to hit an accelerator or pull a brake. This is a zero UI device. So there is no accelerator, no braking, manual braking required. The device simply tracks how the person is walking in the terrain and automatically adjusts the power. And obviously, if the Camino is going too far away, can hit the brakes. So this is a very, the ultimate in accessibility is that zero UI level.
But it can be used without the battery, right?
It works. Yeah, it works as a normal walker if the battery is out, but the battery is designed to last for a whole day.
Okay.
But yes, if the battery runs out, then the user could continue to use it as a normal walker. Shall I hit the play on there? Okay. Yeah. So what you can see here is, as the person's walking along, this gentleman's a 96-year-old Tai Chi master. The device is tracking where every node on the lower part of the body is, translates that into a set of gait data, which can provide a really complex and deep insight for a clinician or a PT. But importantly, in the context of today's topic, we can also provide a very simple interface to people, which is not just providing them with the normal steps walked and average speed, but also providing them with qualitative data, which is really important around gait. So yes, we have a step count, we have speed, we have distance traveled, but then we can talk about the symmetry of the walking. And then from that, we can start to give people feedback on how to improve the quality of how they're walking, which is the base line to help people then walk farther and faster, which drives better health outcomes. So I'll stop that there.
So good. Yeah. So it's like your physical therapist or your occupational therapist is able to track that you're actually doing what they're telling you to do. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So this should hopefully reduce the burden on the PT team in a retirement community, because you're improving home exercise compliance and in fact making every walk part of the home exercise program and nudging behavior to continually improve how people are walking and reducing their fall risk through that.
Awesome. Awesome. And Deval, tell us, about Lotus and how this is helping people every day simply to activate and navigate around their homes with ease.
Sure. I mean, similar to other folks' stories, it started with me. I was born with twisted knees, and over the years, I've been on and off crutches a lot. And one night, a few years ago in this home, I got into bed having left the hallway lights on. But I was too tired to get out of bed, hop onto my crutches, hobble 10 feet, turn off the light, hobble back 10 feet, and get back into bed. So I just slept with the lights on the entire night and woke up in the morning thinking, well, if someone like me, an engineer managing a division at Apple with 37 patents, if I don't even have smart home technology, who does? And it turned out 91% of US homes were built before smart homes even existed, but there's no easy way to upgrade. Right? Even getting an Alexa means rewiring every wall switch to connect to the internet, to be able to talk to Alexa. Then you have to put a smart speaker in every room to control the switches you just rewired. And finally, you have to pair every switch one by one through another app. And just the first step is 11 hours or $2,000. And this is best case if you own the home. If you rent a home, there's no solution. And of course, this disproportionately affects the 27 million people like me with limited mobility. We're talking veteran soldiers, older adults, disabled persons who can spend up to an extra 4 hours at home on self-care every day. And so in a nutshell, we created this thing.
Yeah, tell us about it. Demonstrate it for us. You know, how does it work without having to put wiring and other technology in your home?
Absolutely.
How does it work?
Yeah, and so in a nutshell, you basically point and control different objects around your home. So yeah, Jada, if you can hit play. So we've put 3 wall switches in this apartment. So there's one in the middle, one on the left, and one on the right. We've set up 2 of them already, and Chinmay, our test user, is going to show us the 3rd. And so essentially, she's about to walk up to one. And so it's a 2-part device. And that's a switch cover that connects to existing switch covers. And all you do is bring it close, and that's it. It snaps on magnetically, so there's no rewiring necessary. There's no apps. There's nothing else needed. Now, the entire front surface is also a button. So as you can tell, she's just pushing the front surface, or you can control it using the ring on your finger, which she's about to show right now. And so she's going to try and turn on just one, which was the right. Now the one in the middle, the one on the left. And now she's going to do the same and turn them all off in the same order. And as you can tell, only the thing she's pointing to turns on and off. Now, the nice thing is, with this, you can control anything that a wall switch controls. So she obviously showed lights, but you can control lights, fans, appliances like a window unit AC. And because we're using infrared, just like your television remote, we can also control televisions. And the nice thing about all this is you can go from home to smart home in seconds, and you can take it with you wherever you go, whether you're living in a rental apartment or you have a disability and you're traveling. And so either way.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So no matter where you go, you could take it with you and still be able to turn lights on and off and access switches, right?
Yeah. And we have other things coming down the pipeline, sockets, doors, and drapes. The whole idea is it's almost like telekinesis, but of course it's not telekinesis. So the idea is to be able to control your whole environment around you from your fingertip.
I love it. These are such great solutions. Stephen, I want to hear from you. Where are there gaps that are occurring right now that you would love to see filled?
Well, I think that's one of the incredible things that we just heard that from the innovators that are on the call right now, of people are experiencing where there's challenges and developing solutions based on those challenges. So that's something that we saw particularly during the pandemic, when so many people were, locked at home and realizing that, they weren't able to make the connections. They weren't able to control their homes in the ways that they wanted to control their devices. And it's led to some incredible solutions. Now, I think we're going to see an incredible advancement over the next couple years with everyone's talking about AI right now. And certainly we're going to see things like, ChatGPT and other devices along those lines. But I think it's actually the machine learning in the back end that is going to make all of our homes smarter and more customizable to our environments. That's really going to make a big difference. And then one of the big holes that I think still needs to be filled is transportation. And that's something that we're seeing advancements in self-driving vehicles, but I still think that there needs to be more work, especially around accessible transportation solutions.
Thank you. And Jimmy, let me ask you, in terms of your product and how it's serving people, what gaps are you having right now that you could use more support or assistance in?
My goodness, there are so many gaps. We're still new to this. Our first product came out in Q4 of last year. We have 2 new products coming out Q4 of this year, including our version on a traditional hospital gown. I think anyone who's ever had to wear a hospital gown and had the rear end hanging out and trying to tie it up top recognizes that it doesn't work that well. And especially for those individuals have to be in a hospital setting for a long term or a long period of time, that's especially inconvenient and fairly undignified. So we have that coming up, but we're working on products for outerwear. We're working on underwear as well. And frankly, I don't think there's a limit to anything that would be in somebody's wardrobe or an accessory to somebody's wardrobe that we want to innovate on and improve and find an easier way to allow folks to dress themselves and extend their independence.
I'll just say straight up, women's clothing is so complicated to put on sometimes. There are a lot of clothes never leave the dressing room because it's just too complicated to put on. So thank you for solving that. And Jeff, how about you? You've been working on Camino now for a couple of years, and what gaps are currently existing that you would love to close?
Yes, we have been working on it for quite some time. I think we're at 4 years now. I think we've got a great consumer offer now that's standalone. Somebody comes in and chooses to buy a Camino for their parent or for themselves. What we're really looking at now is how do we create that connection with sorry, my phone has gone off. I thought I turned everything off. But how do we create that connection with retirement communities and get them to and provide them with the information that would be really useful for them to help manage the community of walker users?
Very good. And Deval, how about you? What gaps are occurring in your development?
Yeah, from our perspective, like I mentioned, we want to make sure you can control everything in your home and ultimately at work and other places too, because all rings are interchangeable. So if your dad or granddad visit you, they can still use their rings in your home and vice versa. So it's like a telephone. I think speaking holistically to the field, I think we need more of these technologies that are optimized for a quote corner case user so that they're ultimately usable by everyone. You know, if you make a product that's simple enough or light enough or easy enough for an older adult to use or a person with a disability to use, then they're still usable by everyone. So why not do that? I mean, we have examples of this in software. You know, closed captions are an easy example. They were originally created for people who are deaf, but we all use captioning all the time. Whether you're at a sports bar, you're watching a video on LinkedIn, why not also do that in hardware? And so I think we just need to proliferate more of these across the board.
I want to ask you guys now, what are the costs of your products in comparison to the competitive market, and where can people purchase what you've developed? Jimmy, if you would tell us, please.
Yeah, so relative to a traditional men's button down, if you go get a Bonobos button down right now, Banana Republic, their prices will be anywhere from $80 to $120. Ours are below that price point right now. We've decided strategically to have lower margins early on to make our products accessible. And we'd also point out that our products are going to cost more to manufacture, not just because we're going to be purchasing in lower quantities than someone like a Bonobos or a Lululemon or Banana Republic would, but we also are using specially created magnets. We're adding elastic, we're adding unique features to our products, but in order to make them available to as many people as possible, we're really strong in trying to make our costs as approachable as they can be. If anyone wants to try us out, you can find us at joeandbella.com. Use code WELCOME15 for 15% off. And we'd love to hear your thoughts and your reactions to what we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you. And Jeff, how about you? How is the market competitively priced right now for Camino?
So look, our primary competition is an analog walker and perhaps somebody with having an iPhone or an iWatch. Obviously, and basic analog walkers can go from $100 up to $1,000. With the technology we've put into the Camino, we're pricing at retail at $3,000 at the moment, but taking pre-orders right now at a 1/3 off, so $2,000. When we look to a fleet solution, that could be deployed into a retirement community. We're aiming to get the price per unit down to perhaps $50 per month, and make also a similar rental option available for consumers in the near future.
And I know firsthand, because I've seen residents use Camino, how enlivened they are and how excited they are when they see that they can walk more,
Yeah.
and they can, walk, they can continue to walk everywhere they want to. Like, I know that I've heard people say before, this is well worth it.
Yeah, we've seen. There's a great story of a lady who is a real dynamo in a community in Phoenix area, and she was trying to walk a mile a day. I think she's an 86-year-old professor. Well, I know, in fact, but she could never quite get there, and she took Camino out for a test drive as one of our beta testers earlier this year, and she was so excited when she got back because she just found it fun to go out with, one, a device that just looks great, but two, she managed to walk over a mile according to her Apple phone. But when we checked the actual data, she actually walked 1.1 miles, finally broke that threshold that she'd been working for. So she was super excited about it. And it's just great to see people being able to move more and reap the benefits to their health that delivers.
Wonderful. And Deval, how about for you? How is Lotus competitively priced right now?
Sure. So we have 1 ring and 3 switch covers, priced for $299. So 1 ring and 3 switch covers, and that's an entire. That way you can make an entire smart home smart. And for the same price point, you would get a single Amazon Echo Show. So just 1 smart speaker. So you need multiple, and then you would still have to rewire the wall switches. So it's about 4 times less in terms of price, and you get an entire smart home that other people can use as well. So we're taking pre-orders right now. We'll be in the market in about 6 to 9 months. We're actually running pilots. So if anyone's interested in trying prototypes, we would love to hear from you. Feel free to email me at deval@lotuslabs.org or put in your pre-orders at www.lotuslabs.org.
Awesome. And with just a couple of minutes left, Stephen, can you tell us what you're looking forward to seeing this year at CES in regards to accessibility tech, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're excited for CES. It's coming up in January, right around the corner. And accessibility is going to play a big role at CES this year. Certainly, as we've done in the past, we just announced our 5 Eureka Park accessibility winners. So this year, every year we pick 5 startup companies. We give them a free booth at CES, and we give them a little bit of money because we know it costs money to be in Las Vegas for the week. So we've got an incredible group of companies that we'll be recognizing at the show. We also have an entire track of content that will be going on around accessible technology. But that's not it for accessibility at the show. We'll also have panels and content that will be part of other sessions. For instance, part of the gaming track will have an accessible gaming panel. Part of the vehicle tech track will have an accessible vehicle tech panel. So there'll be a ton of different content. And then one of my highlights for the week is we are bringing back the Foundation's pitch contest at CES. So we'll have probably about 8 companies. We're about to open up the call for entries for that pitch competition. But this year we're going to focus on health tech, but we're looking at health tech from an accessibility or aging perspective. So people can look at the CTA Foundation website, which I know is popped up, but at ctafoundation.tech, or go to ces.tech for all kinds of information.
Oh, I am positively jumping out of my seat with excitement, and I just cannot wait to see this all in person in January. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for being part of our broadcast today. Thankfully, Jada's been putting all your email addresses and your websites down at the bottom. And for those chiming in the chat, thank you so much. And, we applaud you all for coming up with these innovations and seeing them through to fruition. And well done, guys. And thank you again for being part of today's broadcast. I'll see you back here next week.